It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one!
Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams here today.
Hi, you're watching Sports This Week. I'm Rupha Ramani, bringing you everything that made all the headlines in the week that was. Now, while India is busy taking on the West Indies in a two-match test series, the real buzz has been around the ODI selection for the Australia series that's coming up. Sunil Gavaskar has lashed out at the Indian management over the debate surrounding Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. Calls to suspend India-Pakistan matches entirely are growing louder, now also from outside the subcontinent, from a former England captain who says that the contests are becoming a playground for propaganda than cricket. Drama unfolded in chess as Hikaru Nakamura literally threw Gukesh Domaraju's king into the crowd, sparking an outrage. Is chess losing its charm in its push to becoming more entertaining? Cristiano Ronaldo has become the first footballer to reach the billionaire status, surpassing his great rival Lionel Messi. What sets Ronaldo's success story apart from the rest? And the NBA has finally returned to China after 6 long years, but can sport do what politics couldn't? Build a bridge between the US and China? And will its return also help tackle China's growing problem of a problematic fan culture? All of that heading your way. The new era is here. Shubman Gill is captain of the ODI format in cricket as well. The squad for India's series against Australia, which starts sometime in October, was announced over the weekend, and you saw a new captain, a new vice captain taking charge. So what does this mean for the two senior-most players who made it to the squad, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, and what has the reaction been like for what's clearly been a change of guard? Now, while this was imminent, the writing was pretty much on the wall, given the kind of noise that we were all hearing post the Champions Trophy and, of course, heading into and out of the Test series against Australia. This was clearly the reality check that everyone was dreading to see. So how does the squad look like? One of the biggest and, of course, well thought out move is definitely to make Shreyas Iyer the vice captain there. It's been a tough last few years for him. He's found himself on the wrong side of things for a while. So seeing him up there, being given a step up and been given that additional responsibility as deputy is indeed heartening in that entire setup. It's a very prolific looking batting lineup if you look at it. Of course, you see Rohit and Virat, and that name and lends to a lot of impact there. But of course, the one name missing in that lineup as a batter is Rishabh Pant, who's still recovering. You clearly don't see also the backup keeper being Sanju Samson, despite doing all he can to claim spot there. And of course, over in that bowling lineup, there is a bit of inexperience because you're clearly missing someone like Jasprit Bumrah, who we won't see too much of as is, given the packed calendar and how we need to manage his injury, post-injury time as well. So, of course, you need him for those big tournaments. So, needless to say, this is what it looks like now. Keeping 2026-7 World Cup in mind. Which is what brings me to the point about Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma's presence in the squad. Well, actually the playing 11. Safe to say when you have these two stalwarts, it won't be to warm the bench. So when you look at this as a preparatory squad leading up for that big World Cup in 2027, how does it really pan out? Sunil Gavaskar, former India captain, currently commentator, vehemently spoke out against their inclusions, saying they were just taking up spots.
I'm pretty certain that if this were a trip to Zimbabwe or the West Indies, both of them would not have been available. It's not easy to be playing just 7 or 8 ODIs while preparing for a World Cup. They will have to play the Vijay Hazare Trophy. That's one way to stay in trim and maintain match practice.
Gavaskar clearly not happy with the way the squad looks. The next 2 years are critical when you talk of preparing yourself for the big one, the one that India heartbreakingly missed out on when they lost to Australia in the final. So oddly enough, the chief of selector though also agrees that time is less and fixtures more so.
It's a format that is played the least now. So you don't get that many games to give the next guy that much time to prepare himself or plan. The last one-day game we played was in March at the Champions Trophy, and the next one we play is on October 19. We'll start planning for the World Cup to come.
So you're aware that the number of matches you'll get in this format is lesser compared to the other two as the months go on. Now, isn't that more the reason to get the right kind of combination, or at least closest to the kind of combination that you know for sure that you will go after as soon as possible?
It's very difficult to have 3 different captains for 3 formats in terms of not just selectors, but more importantly, even for the coach to plan with 3 different people is never easy. At some stage, you've got to start looking at where the next World Cup is.
Well, seems to be a bit of both, seeing this side as well as that. So while you do acknowledge one aspect of it being difficult planning for the road ahead, what about the certainty of which of the 2 seniors or the 2 seniors who will not play enough cricket by the time 2027 comes? You do admit that the chances and opportunities are less as is for those who are already part of the rigors of international cricket, but for those who aren't, it's even lesser, which is what the point Sunil Gavaskar is trying to make. So who have to be at their, you're also looking at these 2 batters having to be at their peak, given the kind of talent that's knocking on the doors. It's tough when you especially look at the kind of promising talents you have everywhere, just waiting in the wings, especially in Indian cricket. That's what Gavaskar is hinting to. So what's the plan really? The one good thing about this, though, is that Shubman Gill will get that guidance that he truly needs. Not that captaincy is new to him. We've seen him do that at the IPL. We've seen him do that in tests as well. He was under the pump during the series against England, but came out on top in the manner he knew best, being himself. Here he will have Rohit Sharma by his side. That's really essential as well, at least for now, to help him navigate the initial phase of what is going to be captaincy in a different format. Even so, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli don't look like they are going anywhere. They're hoping their social media activity is enough to shut people like Gavaskar and many others down about how fit and ready they can be come 2027. The point they're trying to make is as leaders in that batting lineup, they will be key and they're willing to go the distance to stay that way come 2027 World Cup. So while most of the squad selection spells somewhat the right kind of thinking, looking at the way forward for Indian cricket, few questions remain unanswered. And maybe some of those answers could come during the series against Australia. Question is, will action be taken to course correct at that point when you look at Mission 2027? Over the last month, one rivalry has dominated headlines, the social media and general chatter. It's India versus Pakistan. First, the Men's Asia Cup, and then, of course, the Women's ODI World Cup that's still underway. 4 face-offs inside of 28 days, especially when the standoff between the 2 countries has been cold. But the drama, infinite. And amid the frenzy, a serious question is echoing across cricket's corridors. Should India and Pakistan even continue playing each other? And this time, the call isn't coming from within the subcontinent, it's coming from England. Former English captain Michael Atherton has stoked a debate here. He's asking the ICC to stop organising India-Pakistan matches altogether, arguing that these contests are no longer about cricket, they're only becoming more about propaganda.
If cricket was once the vehicle for diplomacy, it is now, clearly, a proxy for broader tensions and for propaganda. There is little justification for a serious sport to arrange tournament fixtures to suit its economic needs, and now that the rivalry is being exploited in other ways.
Atherton's words sting, but he's not wrong. Cricket did use India and Pakistan for its economic needs. Once upon a time, this fixture was cricket's gold mine. Tickets, TV rights, packed stands, global hype. But today, that gold has lost its sheen. Only 1 out of the 3 Asia Cup games saw a full house, and that too the final, and not because of the rivalry. Ever since the Pahalgam attack, fans have made their feelings pretty clear. This is no longer about sport. There is pain, there is politics, and there is fatigue. So why then do we keep forcing this contest? Because in the last 10 years, both the men's teams and the women's side have met on 10 occasions. Similar record, India winning 8 of them, Pakistan a rare 2 wins. The gap becomes more evident in one-day internationals. 10 years and Pakistan's men's side only one major win, the 2017 Champions Trophy final. That's it. For the women, 100% dominance of India. Pakistan haven't beaten India ever in this format. So what are we really watching, or what are we really going for? Or should we ask, why this forced hype? A cricketing contest or a manufactured rivalry to fill the balance sheets? Because when one side comes prepared with skill, with form, the talent, and the other comes armed with politics and provocation, it's no longer sport. Well, let's be honest here. India versus Pakistan was never really just a cricket match. It's always been layered with history, heartbreak, and nationalism. But at least the matches earlier had some pizzazz. It had competition. Now it's losing its soul, it's losing its spark to theatrics and toxic narratives. History shows countries with deep political fault lines have stepped away from sport. During the Cold War, the US and the Soviet Union barely played each other. Israel doesn't face Palestine or Iran. Even China and Taiwan maintain separate sporting identities to avoid any friction. So why can't India and Pakistan do the same? Or at least until Pakistan elevates its sporting system.
For the next broadcast rights cycle, the fixture draw before ICC events should be transparent, and if the two teams do not meet every time, so be it.
Atherton's challenge exposes the truth, the bitter truth. Pakistan thrives on the India card to stay relevant. Without India, their cricket economy, their viewership and spotlight vanish. But here's the irony. While Pakistan keeps using India to stay in the headlines, India doesn't even need the rivalry anymore. Today, the world's biggest cricketing battles are between India and Australia, India and England. Even India versus Afghanistan is a more interesting fixture. Those are genuine face-offs fought with talent, not tension. And maybe that's the future cricket deserves. Matches that elevate the sport, not exploit emotions. So maybe it's time to reimagine this rivalry in some way, not as a political spectacle, but as a sport that can one day truly symbolize peace. Until then, perhaps pressing pause isn't really surrender, it's just common sense. The world of chess, once the temple of calm minds and quiet brilliance, seems to be transforming into an arena of brash and provocative displays. American Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura defeated India's Gukesh at the checkmate in the US. But what followed shocked everyone. Hikaru picked up Gukesh's king from the board and flung it into the crowd. A moment that lasted just seconds but stunned the global chess community. Was it passion? Was it provocation? Or was it the moment when chess, in its quest to stay modern, lost its charm? Now, in most sports, a little swagger, some fiery celebrations, a gesture of dominance, it's all part of the game. You see it in football, in basketball, even in tennis. Fans feed off emotions. Rivalries thrive on that adrenaline rush. But in chess, where silence is sacred and respect is non-negotiable, tossing the king off the board is like ripping up the rule book of dignity. And social media reacted exactly as you'd imagine, with a lot of fury. this wasn't just about one match. This is about where chess itself is heading. Because this isn't an isolated incident, it's part of a pattern. We've seen it building up over the last few years. Remember Magnus Carlsen at the eSports World Cup when the crowd booed him during his game against Nakamura. Carlsen turned, put a finger to his lips when he took control of the game. The crowd roared louder, and not long before that, Carlsen faced Gukesh at the Norway chess tournament. When the young Indian beat him, Carlsen smashed his fists on the table. It was unfiltered emotion, raw, something old school purists weren't used to seeing in this sport. So clearly the calm that once defined chess is being replaced by drama, confrontations, theatrics and spectacle. Tension isn't just being witnessed on the board anymore. It's in the post-game gestures, the stare-downs, the tweets and live stream reactions. The sport too has evolved, trying to get the fans as involved as possible, like the confession cam, a tool that can only fuel all of this. And now with Hikaru's gesture, throwing the king, we may have reached the breaking point. Now this act might be symbolic, a literal representation of how aggressive and entertainment-driven chess has now become. But it also reflects an identity crisis because this sport, once revered for its mental discipline and timeless grace, is now walking a fine line between evolution and erosion. The streaming era has made chess cool again. Sure, Twitch, YouTube, viral moments, they've pulled millions of young fans back into the game. Players like Hikaru have become global celebrities. They've turned 64 squares into a stage watched by millions. But with that, chess has picked up something else too, the need to perform, to entertain, to shock. And that's where the dilemma lies, because when entertainment takes precedence over elegance, when victories come with taunts, the very soul of the game starts to fade away somewhere. And that's why this moment matters. Look at the contrast though. On one side, Nakamura, fiery, emotional, unapologetically dramatic, leading the charge for new age chess. On the other, you see someone like Gukesh, very calm, focused, quietly resetting his pieces even after all of this. No retaliation, no reaction whatsoever, just calm. It's almost poetic, the clash of generations, of ideologies, of what chess once was and what it's turning out to be. So where does the sport head from here? Does it fully embrace this chaotic, theatrical version of itself, where grandmasters are rock stars and drama fuels engagement, or does it take a step back to restore the very thing that made it timeless in the first place, where silence, not showmanship, ruled? Because in the end, no matter how viral the clips go or how loud the applauses come, the chessboard remains unchanged. It's 64 black and white squares, demanding respect, patience, and of course, humility. And maybe that's where the future of chess lies, not in the extremes, not in the theatrics alone, but in finding that perfect balance between fire and focus, passion and poise, where true champions don't necessarily need dramatic interludes to show they are kings or queens. Cristiano Ronaldo has reached yet another landmark, and this one's not about trophies or goals, it's about record-breaking money. Ronaldo has reportedly become the first footballer in history to become a billionaire. He surpassed his longtime rival Lionel Messi, because while others fade out, Ronaldo, even in the twilight of his career, is getting richer, sharper and hungrier. Aging not just like fine wine, but like liquid gold. Football has always been a money magnet. From multi-million salaries to mega brand deals, if you're at the top, the cash flows. But there's always a pattern. A player peaks, then dips. Their market value falls, their brand value declines. Just look at Neymar. In 2017, his transfer value hit a record-breaking $260 million. Today, it's barely $10 million. And he's still 8 years younger than Ronaldo. But that's how steep the drop can be. Ronaldo, however, he's broken that pattern. Flip the economics of aging in sports. His global worth keeps rising. His CR7 brand spans everything from luxury apparel to personal wellness. He's invested in gyms and hotels that promote the very lifestyle that he lives. And his deal with Nike alone accounts for around 15% of his career earnings. Then there are endorsement deals with top brands, partnership with some of the notable companies. But here's the twist. These aren't even the biggest source of his income anymore. Reports claim Ronaldo's net worth stands at $1.4 billion, of which nearly $400 million come directly from his tax-free contract extension with Al Nassr. And that's not all. Insiders say he even has ownership stakes in the Saudi club. So while others may make money after retirement, Ronaldo is building empires during his playing days. See the difference? Most billionaires in sport earned outside their game. But Ronaldo, he's earned over 550 million in salaries between 2002 and 2023, purely from football. He didn't just get rich because of the sport. He made football itself the business model.
My family tell me, it's time to quit. You've already achieved everything. Why do you want to score 1,000 goals? I think it's still possible to produce beautiful things. I'm still contributing to my club and my national team. So why not continue? I'm certain that when I finish, I'm going to feel fulfilled because I gave everything I had until I couldn't give anymore.
That's Ronaldo in one quote, because this billionaire status isn't about money, it's about mindset. He's the most driven athlete on the planet. 5 a.m. gym sessions, military-grade diets, no alcohol, no sugar, even holidays double to being training sessions. For most, that's punishment. For Ronaldo, that's purpose. At 41, he still looks, trains and plays like a man half his age. And in Saudi Arabia, he continues to deliver goals and global attention every single week. This isn't just passion, it's evolution. Ronaldo keeps proving that greatness doesn't have an expiry date. From the streets of Madeira to Manchester, from a skinny kid mocked for his accent and hairstyle to the most followed man on Instagram and now football's first billionaire. He didn't just break barriers, he built an entire industry around himself. He's not just a player anymore, he's a blueprint for how to extend relevance, redefine longevity and turn legacy into currency. And that's what truly separates Cristiano Ronaldo from the rest. In a generation obsessed with viral success, he's the reminder that consistency is the real superstardom. In an age looking for overnight fame, Ronaldo is proof that sustained greatness takes a lifetime of grind. America's biggest basketball league, the NBA, is finally returning to China after 6 long years. But this comeback isn't just another pre-season tour. It's a massive test of culture, diplomacy and control. Because while the NBA looks to rebuild bridges with China, the country itself is facing an uncomfortable question. Is China even ready for the world of modern fandom? Because what we are witnessing is the ugly side of Chinese fan culture. 2 high-profile pre-season games will take place. The Brooklyn Nets and the Phoenix Suns are set to play in Macau over the weekend. It's a huge deal, no doubt, but the timing couldn't be trickier. The world's 2 biggest powers, America and China, are once again trading blows, not on the basketball court, but on the global stage. Trump's new tariffs have reignited an all-out trade war. Right in the middle of it all stands the NBA. The same league that 6 years ago found itself at the center of a diplomatic disaster. In 2019, one tweet changed everything. The then Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey tweeted support for the Hong Kong protests. China suspended all NBA broadcasts, sponsors pulled out overnight, merchandise vanished from shelves, and the NBA's most profitable international market froze instantly. It took years of silence, back-channel diplomacy and a mountain of financial losses before it even began to thaw. And now the NBA's return marks a brand new chapter. Because for the NBA, this is not just sport, it's strategy. China isn't just another fan base, it's a billion-dollar gold mine. No wonder then that fans are paying up to $1,000 for a single ticket that would usually cost around $15.
For Chinese fans, the NBA feels so far away, literally half a world apart. That's why we felt we had to come to the NBA China games. If you ever get the chance, you must experience it live. It's a completely different feeling from watching on TV.
文斯卡特、加内特、奥尼尔都要来，这些都是我们儿时的记忆。
Looks and sounds like genuine excitement, but beneath that, there's a darker reality because at home, China's sports fan culture is under serious scrutiny. The ongoing Shanghai Masters tennis tournament is showing just how ugly it can get. A drunken spectator disrupted a high-profile match, shouting, stumbling, and refusing to stop until she had to be physically removed from the arena. And this is not a one-off. This season alone, multiple players have complained about fans intentionally disrupting matches. World number 9, Lorenzo Musetti, even pleaded with the chair umpire to stop the constant disturbances during his serves.
Come on every point. I understand a few times. I made a mistake, okay, but this is not possible every point. It's too much. Say something.
In badminton, Japanese star Chiharu Shida faced stalking and harassment from obsessed Chinese fans to the point that she had to reveal how unsafe she felt. So let's call it what it is, an unhealthy, chaotic, at times toxic fan culture that seems to be present. If the player isn't a big name, they get heckled or disrupted. If the player is famous, they get stalked or swarmed. This is happening in a nation that prides itself to being a sporting superpower. From the Olympics to table tennis, badminton to gymnastics, China dominates the world stage. But domination doesn't mean devotion. Because while athletes have raised China's sporting reputation, its fans haven't kept their end of the deal. Here's the irony though. China spends billions on sports infrastructure, global events and athlete training. But the soul of sport doesn't live in facilities, it lives in fans. Fans who cheer, respect and celebrate. Fans who love the game, not just the victories. Because a nation isn't truly great at sport when it wins medals alone, it's great when it creates memories. And that's where the NBA's return could mean something far deeper. For years, China's youth have idolized the NBA, not just as fans but as dreamers. Street basketball in Shanghai and Guangzhou is thriving. Sneaker culture, streetwear and grassroots tournaments are booming. And now with the league officially back, it might just be the spark of raw, authentic energy that's been missing. Because sport, unlike politics, doesn't demand loyalty to a flag. It demands loyalty to the moment. It doesn't ask you to pick sides, it asks you to feel. So maybe this NBA comeback isn't just about repairing relations, maybe it's a test of whether China can truly embrace the emotion of sport, not just the spectacle. Because when the cheering turns into respect, when passion replaces chaos, and when fans elevate the game rather than embarrass it, that's when China will truly arrive as a sporting superpower in spirit and not just in the medals tally.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
Stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor,
Hindi,
$30 trillion ka-charge
Indonesian,
pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Sekali radikali.
Japanese,
4 兆ドル以上も
Portuguese,
por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select the language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.